Well, hello and welcome to the Sports Arena Chair in Novi Sad in the north of Serbia, and the last day in the preliminary round of Euro 2012. My name is Paul Bray. Thanks for joining us for this Group C match between France and Sweden. The press are ready, the team are out, and the spectators are still taking their seats in the stand for this important match later on today. We will have Denmark against Macedonia, but first Sweden take on France, and with 2 wins so far, Sweden already qualified for the main round, but need to win today to be sure of taking maximum points into the next stage of the competition. Here is confirmation then of the running order. Denmark against Macedonia is the second matchup, but first we have this encounter between two teams who know each other well, Sweden and France. And this is the standings at the moment. Sweden 2 wins from 2. France beat Macedonia to take their 2 points, while Denmark beat France in the second match for their 2 points. So this is how the table stands. Sweden and France are in fact already certain to go through. The question now is how many points they will take into the next round of the competition. The referees for this game, well, they're not Marin and Garcia, they're the referees for the next game. These are Helena Černojević and Emina Kosteki Radic from Croatia. Well, for France, who beat Macedonia on the opening day but then lost to Denmark, victory today is crucial to make sure they take at least 2 points into the main round. If, as seems likely, Macedonia then exit the competition later today. But I guess we shouldn't take anything for granted just now. But first we have the national anthems.
National anthem of Sweden.
The dulcet tones of the Swedish anthem, and now we shall have the Marseillaise for France.
And now, national anthem of France.
So the stirring strains of the Marseillaise, and the teams will wheel round now to shake hands and the usual formalities. For Sweden then, here's the lineup, and they're likely to start with a strong back line featuring Torstensson, Gulden and Alm. Ågren started on the line in the Macedonia game, but it is likely that the more experienced Flodman may start here today, and Helleberg and Fuglström should be on the wing, while goalkeeper Grubström has a 40% save rate, which is excellent so far in the competition. Well, there is Grubström, 74 caps for her country, 2 penalties saved in that 40% save rate, and Torstensson, who has scored 9 goals so far in the competition, a 53% success rate on her shooting for the left back who plays for Krim Ljubljana in Slovenia. France, well, they should start with Pinot in the centre, while the athletic Signate has started at left back. Her poor scoring rate could see her make way for Mendy. Eglon should start at right back with the impressive Canto Gitam on the line, and Dembele and Dansette on the wings. And the goalkeepers have a point to prove here today after a disappointing performance against Denmark, but the more experienced Darleux should start. There is Alison Pinault, former World Player of the Year, 300 goals in 127 appearances for her country. Well, Kamto Gitam, who scored 6 so far in the competition, has scored 308 in total for her country and has been one of the more impressive players in the French team so far. Well, these two teams have played each other 3 times this year in the Scandinavian Open. France winning all 3 times, incidentally. Scandinavian Open was 27-20. They then met at the Olympics in London. 29-17 France won then. And then just 2 weeks ago in Norway in the Möbelringer Cup, when again France won 24-22. It's getting closer. And Sweden have certainly been very impressive here, while France have had their confidence really knocked by Denmark. This young Danish side who played an aggressive 4-2 defence, and it threw the French plans into disarray. The back players just couldn't get in well enough to open up the game. They could find their line players, but they couldn't find the wingers, and it really hampered them as the game went on, and Denmark deservedly walked away with the points from that match. So there are the referees from Croatia, Helena Černojević and Emina Kosteki-Radić. So France take their place in defence, and we're just about ready to get going with this penultimate game in Group B. And here we go then, Sweden in the all-yellow strip today, playing from left to right. France in all blue open up with a 6-0 defence, the traditional defence. They sometimes switch to 5-1. But they will just try and do a bit of sounding out first against Sweden. Quick early start by Torstensson, who's been so impressive since a poor start in the opening game. She's really got her range now, and Darleux completely the wrong way. Great goal by the 29-year-old. So it is the very tall 1.89 meter Signaté, number 24, who started the left back, but she's only got a 25% scoring rate, and that might be why. It's the direction more than the strength has been her problem. Oh, that went wide, unlucky. She seems to think there was a touch on it. Joanna Alm, who took that shot. Alm, who was incredibly impressive, and Krumholtz finding something to smile about with the table officials. So France certain to go through. The only permutation, in fact, the only teams not decided now out of all the teams going through to the main round are in the next match, Denmark and Macedonia. But even if France lost here today, Macedonia would need a 7-goal win against the Danes to overhaul them and take the last spot in the main round, which I have to say is most implausible as things stand at the moment. They've lost both their games by 12 and 13 goals so far against France and Sweden. And again, straight in. Good start by Sweden, and it's Sabina Jakobsen, the Rannes back player. No less than 7 of the Swedish team play their club handball in Denmark, while 2 of the French team play there, arguably the best women's league in the world. Lovely feed in. Well, Signaté this time turning provider as she passes the ball into Nina Cantun-Gitam, the Metz line player. And France finally get off the mark after 2.5 minutes. France occasionally pushing out, and Torstensson this time a little bit wayward with a shot, and there is the coach, Torbjörn Klingvall, new coach of the Swedish team. Cantun-Gitam can't turn. She gets a free throw in the end. Camille Aiglon comes in to try and pass the ball into the line, is felled by Lynn Blom, being used in defence at the moment, one of the newcomers to the Swedish team, number 7. Signaté. Oh, that's more like it if she can just frame her shots. She has got a very hard shot indeed, but she's only managed to do it so far 3 times out of 12 shots in the 2 matches so far, and she has got a point to prove as well, the player from Ici Paris. And again, the French push out into this impromptu 5-1 and then drop back in again. Just trying to cut the ball when it's at one of the backs. The ball's loose. And the French have got it. They shouldn't try and rush it too much. This was their undoing against Denmark. Nothing given. And exactly what they shouldn't be doing is what just happened. Klingvall screaming from the Swedish bench as Sweden put in a second line player. Hawia has come in from the right wing. Another one of the newcomers to the Swedish team. Just 2 internationals to her name before coming here. But it's Joanna Alm who's gone down, who scored 10 in their opening match against Denmark. That great win on the day one. Was rested heavily in the Macedonia game to be fresh for this game. Joanna Alm, the playmaker, number 15. Looking for the line, didn't quite come through, and long pass, too long almost. And that's holding very high on Siraba Dembele by Jakobsen. Gives away the free throw. And no further sanction against her. Pinault. As I said, France have won all 3 encounters so far this year in a couple of warm-up tournaments and also at the Olympics, when Sweden had a miserable outing at London 2012. Something they'd rather forget, especially coming on the back of such a great performance 2 years ago at the European Championships when they took silver behind Norway. Good save. Cléopâtre Darleux saves the shot by Joanna Alm. The two of them are club teammates at Viborg in Denmark, ironically. In fact, as luck would have it, the 2 goalkeepers at each end also play for the same club, Viborg in Denmark. So opening encounters, just sounding out the defence and the goalkeepers. 55% success rate or thereabouts for both teams at the moment. Signati tries to get a hard shot in, but some good defending once more by Jakobsen in the Swedish defence, who's getting out very early to stop the shots from the athletic French left-back. 6 minutes played, it's 2-2. Looking for Kamto-Gitam. Again, she can't turn. Tries to take the shot, and in the process, Joanna Alm has taken a bit of a blow, the 25-year-old from Viborg, and cut over the eye. And there it is as she tried to get the shot away under pressure. And I'm not sure how serious that is. She's going to need some treatment to it. Is it just a scratch, or has she got a proper cut? Either way, they've got to stem the bleeding before she'll be allowed back on again. Meanwhile, France coming in with Aiglon at the right back position, number 5, the 27-year-old who plays for Nîmes. Very experienced, 3 World Championships and 2 Olympics to her name. Pinault given too much room at the back. And after a good start to 2-0 for Sweden, France have reacted well. Pinault, who tore her cruciate ligaments almost exactly a year ago at the World Championship semi-finals in Brazil against Denmark, hasn't been back that long. The ball is loose. Sand couldn't quite get the rebound. It didn't come far enough. Pinault looks up. Signati, she could go all the way, but she hasn't quite got the pace for that. Pinault thinks about it. Good defense by Sweden. Muster well. Isabelle Gulden moves back out again. And France do make the change at left back, where Signati is just not quite being threatening enough. Claudine Mendy has come in, who plays for Budućnost in Montenegro, number 8. Champions League winners last year. Looking for the line, Kamto-Gitam, and again Sweden defending very well on the line. Kamto-Gitam has got no space whatsoever as Jakobsen and Torstensen close in on her. Pinault again, who's at left back, and clumsily throws the ball away, and it's passive play now. And back comes Sweden. 8 minutes played. Torstensen into Sand, who's taken in on the left wing. Just 19 years of age, the number 9 on the far side. She's gone in on the line now. Torstensen goes wide. It'll be a free throw. Yellow card has been given to Pinault for that last infringement. Little handoff. Torstensson not being given any room now as Tervel has come into the defence and moves up. As soon as she gets it, was that a double dribble, say the French. Sand. Nicely done. Just 2 internationals to her name before coming out to Euro 2012. And the winger plants it on the far post. 3-all. I'll be hoping for Sweden's sake that Johanna Alm can get fit again soon. Teammates are doing fine, but she is a key part of their attack. Lacrabert has now been put into the frame for France. And that's more like it. That's why Mendy's been brought on in place of Signate. More industrious. Whereas Signate tends to go across court and look for the big shots. Mendy has that extra variety, being quite willing to suddenly switch back in again and try and drive through the centre. So Gulden in the centre, Jakobsen at right back, Torstensson at the left back. Great save, but it'll count for nothing as a penalty's been given. A little push on her as she went to shoot from Dembele. And Klingvall having a quick word with some of the players on the bench. And so Cléopâtre Darleux prepares for the penalty. And saves it. A shot by Gulden, and Darleux has made a good start to the game here today. Failed to make any saves from 9 shots in the first half against Denmark before being substituted, but here today she's made 2 from the 5 shots she's faced so far. And so with 10 minutes played in the first half, France are still just leading by a single goal. Very low scoring. Both teams defending hard and the opportunities are few and far between. Lacrabert. Free throw. Lacrabert on the far side, who's a top scorer in the French league at the moment. And again, poor pass. Lacrabert doesn't panic though. Mendy. Free throw's been given. She'll come back again. Foul by Lindblom, 20-year-old who plays for the Swedish champion Sävehof. Well, that's the other option for Mendy. Instead of going through, she goes wide, gives herself a bit of space and scores from a long way out. Very well placed, right up in the top right-hand corner. She looks at goal. Well, France desperate to win this match, so that they have at least a couple of points to take into the main round. Defeat here today, as their goalkeeper Darleux said yesterday, would effectively be it for them. And that's another penalty. Being given by Kosteki Radic, the referee. Here it is again. She goes in to shoot, defending inside the area by Lacrabert, right in front of the referee. So can Darleux save again? Torstensson. She scores. Second goal of the game. And they're back within 1. It's a very low scoring game. Sees a switch now at the back. Pinault has gone off. She's been timing her runs all wrong, and maybe just a chance for the coach to have a word with her, while Lacrabert goes in the centre and Aiglon goes back to the right back position. And I think Kamtujitam stepping into the area, the line player, is it? No, it's given as a back foul, an attacking foul. And France repeatedly putting their captain Raphael Tervel into the centre of the defence. Changing it between attack and defence. Tervel, who was going to retire after the Olympic Games, but so disappointed was she with their quarter-final exit to Montenegro that when the coach asked her if she really did want to retire, she said, well, I'll do one more competition, I'll do the Euro, and that will really be it. And she's there in the centre, Tervel, the number 20. superb exponent for the game. Played the club handball in Norway and Spain, and is now at Giurieto, top club in Hungary. Free throw for Sweden meanwhile here. Camille Aiglon holding in the centre with Tervel. Sand comes around as a second line player once more. Switch back, they're trying to give space to Torstensson, who's got a big shot, but Aiglon keeps on latching onto her. She comes through. Passive play. Oh, well, Cléopâtre Darleux slips again. Mistake by the keeper. Not a particularly hard shot. She got a hand to it, but just padded it straight down into her own goal. And that's goal number 2 for Jakobsen. France, who lost the number 1 goalkeeper, Amandine Leno, hugely experienced keeper, who after the Olympics moved to her new club, Olchim Vulcha, in Romania, only to tear her knee ligaments in the very first week of training with her new club, and she's out probably for most of the season. And that's a penalty meanwhile here for France. The foul by Jakobsen on Kanto Gitam, took her arm as she went to shoot, and turns to the referee and acknowledges her mistake. Picks up a yellow card in the process, no ill intent, it's just one of those rash moves. They still have to convert it though. Paul Baudouin, who scores. Paul Baudouin, who scored 9 from 11 penalties so far in the competition. She's in fact France's top scorer with 13 goals so far. Little crossover, and we're midway through the first half. Torstensson, good save by Darleux this time, picked up by Lacravert. Out come France, Mendy. Sweden back in defence very quickly, and another poor pass. France are clumsy with their passing at the moment. They keep on stalling their own attacks with passes that are going behind the players as they drive in. And there is Darleux, who's it's given. Driving into the line once more, Mendy dummies the shot and runs all the way through. Third goal for her. Sweden on the attack then, 2 down at the moment. They've been there before and they came back. Sand goes in once more. They're trying to flatten this defence when they go in. That came off a defender. It'll be a throw in from the corner as Klingvall looks on. Klingvall, who is a former player for Sweden. Just took over from Per Johansson, who left after the Swedish team's failure at the Olympic Games, and Klingvall working with his assistant Thomas Sivertsson to try and rebuild the Swedish side, who did so well at Euro 2010 to take silver. Well, Mendy is on fire. Goal number 4. 22-year-old, and you can see why Budućnost were keen to sign her, the Montenegrin champions and indeed European champions. Played for Metz previously, the French champions. Into Sand. Once more she comes around. Torstensson switches. Jakobsen looking for the line, but it's well read by Tervel. Mendy tries to get away from her marker, Hawia, the right winger. There is Mendy, 22 years of age, 87 internationals for France, 174 goals. And I think Sweden are going to resort to trying to run the ball in a little bit more by bringing on Jamina Roberts. Mendy switches back again. Looking to the line, Kanto Gitam around the keeper. And a 4-goal run by France. Second goal for Kanto. It was a nice feed into her, though. Mendy gets the thumbs up on the way back. 18 minutes played then, and France on a 75% shot efficiency. They wish they had that against Denmark 2 days ago. Sweden, though, 45%. Roberts is in on the frame now. Darleux comes rushing out to keep the momentum going on the attack. Into the wing. Oh, very closed. Oh, good play by the keeper. And it's Maria Olsen who's been substituted in for Cecilia Grubström, celebrating her 26th birthday today. I know what she wants for her birthday, a win against France. So Lacrabert in the centre, Aiglon at right back, still Pinot not on at the moment. That wasn't a great pass. Looking for Kamto Gitam, good defending this time by Sweden, cut her path onto the ball. 19 minutes played. Johanna Alm still not back. It's an attacking foul by Sweden. Straight into the two defenders who were stationary, and Sabina Jakobsen, who plays for Rannes. Ironically, crashing into Dembele, club teammate at Rannes. And a team timeout has been called by France. Very calm, Olivier Krummholtz. He's gonna do a demonstration. He wants to pull her into the middle. Krummholtz, who was described by the Danish coach Jan Putlik as the best tactician in the business. Been in charge of the French team for many years. France, who were silver medalists at the World Championships in Brazil almost exactly a year ago, and in fact silver medalists at the World Championships before that in 2009 in China. They were world champions in 2003, but only Raphael Tervel, France's captain here today, was a member of the squad back then. Since then it's been all change. But they did that with Olivier Krummholtz at the helm as well. France always, though, mixed fortunes in the European Championships. They finished third in 2002 and 2006, but it kind of fluctuates. The European competition never seems to be quite right time-wise for them. 14th in 2008, 5th in 2010, when the Swedes took silver. So play resumes then after that French timeout. Paul Baudouin comes out, goes back in on the line. And again, the messy French passing, for all their athleticism, and they are probably one of the strongest teams around. Oh, it's a penalty, defending inside the area by Torstensson. Aiglon trying to find a way through. Let's just see. Well, she was in the process of moving. She hadn't got to the spot to mark it yet, and Jakobsen looks to the heavens on that one. So Olsen, who hasn't saved any penalties from 2 so far, up against Baudouin. Well, she just committed herself, and as she came down again, she jumped, and as she was dropping, there you go. Baudouin just put it over her shoulder, and it's now been a 5-goal exchange in favour of France, who now lead 10-5. And it's been 7 minutes since Sweden last found the back of the net. They just can't quite find a solution against this aggressive French defence, which starts, that's a shame, Sand gets the ball, but the whistle's gone. French defence, which starts 6-0, but frequently pushes into a sudden impromptu 5-1 to try and break up the build-up at the back. And as the Swedes try and respond by putting in a player from the wing, they still can't open up the gaps. Free throw. But then defence is the trademark of the French team. Tough defending. And then launch the brakes off that. Jamila Roberts, the ball is stolen. Baudouin, quick exchange. Did really well, tries to lob at the end, Baudouin, but couldn't control the ball. It came back to her far too close to the line. All credit to Mendy, who tried to keep the ball as late as possible and got a 2-minute suspension for the captain, Tervel, who decks Torstensson. A little shove in the back, maybe. Well, either way, French captain is off, and they need to just reorganise the defence a little bit. Lachabert comes off, not being used in defence now. And a chance now maybe for Sweden to get their scoring going again. It's been 8 minutes since the last goal now. Torstensson, her long-range shooting could benefit from this sparser French defence. They put 2 on the line now, 4 to attack. Gulden tries to tee her up, but the shot comes off one of the defenders, takes the sting out of the shot, and it's a comfortable pick-up for Darleux. And off goes Pinot, being used in defence only, number 7 now. And in fact, it's Aiglon who got the touch. 8 minutes to go then in the first half. France, who won the last 3 encounters that they've had this year against Sweden. But the Swedes have been in impressive form at Euro 2012. And they must be feeling here coming into this game that they have a chance against the French. And a win, of course, would have them going into the main round with maximum points, assuming, of course, as I do, that Denmark will make it through from their match against Macedonia. Free throw. A foul by Emma Hawia, one of the new players in the Swedish team. She's 21 years of age, plays for Skuru. Pinot, attacking foul, say the referees. Jakobsen, Gulden. Torstensson's got space now, but instead goes for the wing. And they have to reorganise again. Jakobsen will go off, being used predominantly in defence at the moment, the number 27. And there is Torstensson, still waiting to come in. Only 2 goals so far, one of them from the penalty line. Goes to Sand, she's got no space to shoot either. Comes back in towards the middle, she gets sent back again though. Gulden, Torstensson now. Saved, Darleux got a hand to it. And Darleux, great performance from the French keeper today, and she really had a point to prove. 5 saves, a 50% save rate for her. She wears those glasses, they're not actually glasses per se, they're protective goggles. She has an eye infection, and it makes her eyes very sensitive to light, a kind of bit like glaucoma. And hence those very distinctive trademark glasses. Signate is back on again, the athletic left back. Aiglon into the wing. Briefly trying a 4-2 with Lachabert, that didn't come off. Baudouin, but forcing too much. Kanto Gitam to make the space for the liking of the Croatian referees. It's a free throw. Sweden come back. Haven't scored in over 10 minutes now. Gulden, Torstensson goes wide, but she's got the penalty. Got in, up and close. And tries to go through, and Signate is standing inside the area. Krumholtz shakes his head. So can Darleux save her second penalty of the game? French keeper plays for Viborg in Denmark. Nicely taken by Torstensson. Second penalty scored of the game for her. 3rd goal in total for the Swedish left back who plays in Slovenia for Krim Ljubljana. One of the most experienced players, 124 internationals, Torstensson, 517 goals. So 2 penalties scored apiece, although Gulden has missed one for Sweden. Dansette, Signate cuts back towards the middle. Aiglon tried to come back in. Lachabert was through. She smiles to the referee as if to say, you are just a bit too early. I was ready to go through and score. Lachabert looking for the line, and too many steps. As she landed, that was the 4th step. Olsen puts the ball up. Sweden tried to up the tempo. That 11-minute spell without goals, while France scored 5. has put them in difficulty, and with 4 minutes and 8 seconds remaining, a team timeout called by Sweden. Torbjorn Klingvall takes his players off. Now, Sweden, to some extent, you wonder whether they weren't pressurised enough, because they were certain to go through, and they know they've got at least 2 points in the match against Denmark. But sometimes you actually need the pressure to perform at your best. So tellingly, Joanna Alm, I thought I just saw her in the melee there. I wonder if she has needed stitches on that cut she got earlier on in the little altercation with Kamto Jitam, when she tried to block her, and as Kamto got the shot away, just brushed the defender, but actually ended up cutting her eyebrow. So play resumes then, just about 4 minutes remaining then in the first half. France leading 10-6 here in Niš, in the south of Serbia. Oh, nearly taken. Piejo, he's come in on the right wing for France, just knocks the ball out of play, couldn't control it. Once again, Aiglon suddenly comes out to block Roberts. And that came off the knee, it seemed. It did. And France will put the ball back. And there's some of the French supporters sitting anxiously. And nothing's won until the final whistle, as they'll know only too well from their match against Denmark, where they managed to open up a lead in the second half. France only to throw it away again. These two teams know each other so well that it can turn very quickly. Baudouin gets pushed in the act of shooting. She's got a free throw, and she's down, holding her back. Not a good sign. Dummies the pass into the line, then goes around to jump. There's the push by Torstensson, and she lands flat on her back. Probably winded as much as anything else. Paul Baudouin, 28 years of age, plays for Metz. She's had a spell in Denmark as well, playing for Esbjerg. She's scored 58 goals so far for the in the French league. Quite a phenomenal goal-scoring machine she is. So the Swedes wait for the next attack from France. And holding on Baudouin means that the ball, or Pinot rather, who's gone in on the wing, means the ball just sails straight past. So in fact Dembele, I'll get there eventually. Aiglon, Signaté, Dembele tries to come around, gets a little bit of a slap in the face on the way past Hawia. And it's going to be another free throw for France. Well, she's got the space. They've flattened the defence completely. And Signaté had a relatively comfortable opportunity to come through. Aiglon had gone in on the other side, and the whole defence was pulling in on her. And Signaté gets the second goal of the game, and the 5-goal lead restored for France. Roberts hasn't quite managed to inject that pace she hoped to in the game. Saved by the keeper, goes out to the side though for a throw-in. Swedish bench applauds the effort though by Johanna Westerberg, one of the debutants in the Swedish team, the number 14. Who has now replaced the more experienced Torstensson. Here she is, number 14, Westerberg. Westerberg again, nearly losing the ball. She has lost the ball. The wing is there, there's 3 of them. And the ball comfortably lobbed. She didn't need any support from the players in the middle. It's scored by Cathy Piejo. He didn't go to the Olympics with the French team, but has since replaced Audrey Derouin in the team. Nice little lob on the break, and that was all worked through the steal by Signaté. Sand comes around again. 4-2 attack. It's just not working, this 4-2 attack. France still feel comfortable pushing up. That's more like it. And Vestberg. Problem still, though, for Denmark is that, for Sweden rather, is that they've only managed to get a couple of goals in 16 minutes of play against France, who defended solidly. Their shooting's gone a little bit awry, unfortunately. Only a 39% success rate with their shooting, Sweden. 30 seconds to go in the first half, and France hammer it home. Piégeot. Second goal for her, and it's all slipping away from Sweden here. They got just time for one more attack, maybe. Gulden calls the move. 10 seconds. Vestberg into the line, beautifully done. Penalty. And Tervel jumps away, looking up to the ceiling, and with the buzzer going, the penalty will be the last throw of the first half. Good play by Christina Flonman, the hugely experienced Swedish line player who actually plays in France for Toulon. Torstensson. Off the post, but it stays in. Her fourth of the game. And so Sweden score only their third goal in 16 minutes of play in the latter part of the first half, and it's a barren spell that has proved very costly to them, as France have moved into a 13-8 lead here in Nice at half-time in this Group B match. Last day in the preliminary stages for these teams before they merge with Group A in Belgrade to form the main round, Group 1. 32% on the attacks for Sweden. That's where the problem is. France on 57% and 69% on their shooting. Turnovers roughly matched. Sweden, though, missing one penalty in the first half. And look at that huge barren spell at the top in those blue lines. At the beginning they were slow, and then they've really managed just 3 goals in 16 minutes at the end, while France just racked them in, scoring 8 goals at the same time to come from behind and take the lead. Torstensson is top scoring for Sweden with 4, while Mendy has the same for France. Fairly well spread out otherwise for the French, with several of them on 2 goals apiece. We'll see the shooting chart now, and this is where it's coming in from Sweden. 3 penalties, 3 shots from the left back, or centre rather, and a couple of shots in from the left side. Nothing on the right-hand side. For France, it's all down the middle. They're driving into the attack there. 1 fast break to 7 metres, and then 2 shots in from the left. We'll take a short break. Join us again for the second half in just a few moments. So welcome back to the Sports Arena Chahir in Nice, and half-time here in this Group B match between France and Sweden, and it's the French who lead 13-8. It was 5-5 and then an 11-minute barren spell for Sweden when France scored 5 times, saw the French take control of the game. Sweden, who have managed just 3 goals in the last 16 minutes of the first half, will hopefully have found some solutions at the interval. So France throw off the second half with a big lead. But we've said it before, it is not over until the final whistle. Things can suddenly turn. So Ndiaye has come in for France, number 14 in the bottom of the picture, the 24-year-old who plays for Toulon. Ironically, she is a teammate of the Swedish line player Fogelström at the club. And there was rather sigh there, I thought, from Olivier Krumholtz as his team give away possession. Gulden, Torstensen. And the good performance continues, and Klingvall trying to find some solutions here. As France hit back through the captain, Raphaël Tervel. Captain on array for a forwards here. Normally used in defence. So at the back, Cléopâtre Darleux, the French keeper, who's made 7 saves from 15 shots. Excellent performance. Get a confidence back after the match against Denmark. And another one by the 23-year-old. Arrived here with 96 internationals to her name. And also a couple of goals for France. I can only assume they were long-range efforts with goals left open at the other end. Sweden, for their part, have resumed with the birthday girl in goal, Maria Olsson. Olsson, who has made 2 saves from 7 shots. And there's another one. But France still have possession. Loose ball picked up by Blandine Dansette, the Nîmes winger. Gamto-Gittam stays wide, looking for the pass, not needed. And again a fumble by Pinault. And for her trouble, she gets a knock in the face from Christina Flonman. Pinault. Well, she's needs some help. Oh! And very cleverly got the ball into Gamto-Gittam, but who was crudely pulled back by Christina Flonman again. Just grabbed her and wrestled her backwards as she was about to run onto the ball. And Olsson beaten once more by Signate. Well, the last encounter between these two teams just 2 weeks ago at the Møbelringer Cup in Bergen, Norway, saw France win just 24-22. But the scoreline here is beginning to look more like the Olympic result when France won 29-17 here. Sweden visibly suffering from the lack of Johanna Alm, who was so influential in their opening match against Denmark. But he went off injured with a cut to the eye earlier on. It didn't look unduly serious, but it's obviously been enough to keep her off since. And Darleux, who has now made 8 saves from 16, a 50% save rate for the French keeper. Pinault drives in, tries to flatten the defence, but Sweden do well to push out. It was Jakobsen again, who's so industrious. But the long pass to Darleux, or rather down the court, was picked out by Darleux, who came out very quickly, and Klingvall having a word with her team. Well, Darleux with a point to prove today, but also wanting to get bragging rights over the Swedish goalkeeper Cecilia Grubström, who's been replaced now. The two are teammates at Viborg in Denmark. A bit of ribbing coming up, I think, when they get back. That came off the foot of Torstensen, unluckily for her, after having dispossessed Ndiaye, the number 14. Pinault. Ndiaye She was trying to lean across, but Flonman caught her. Seems to be none the worse for it, the 24-year-old from Toulon. She was a reserve for the Olympic Games, but never got to play. That goes wide, and that's going to be a penalty and a 2-minute suspension. The foul by Hanna Fogelström, the 22-year-old from the champion Sävehof, goes off. First suspension of the game for Sweden. She seemed to catch. The replay might show it better. She just held back Dembele, the winger, as she tried to go through, and a penalty's been given, and an opportunity maybe then for Baudouin to press home the advantage. Dummies the first shot and then puts it away. And 3 goals without reply in the second half so far for the French. And a 100% record from the 7-meter line for the smiling Paul Baudouin from Metz. He's played 164 times for her country, 484 goals, but she's got an 81% success rate here at Euro 2012, Baudouin, which is excellent. Gulden in the centre. And of course, not only will the points be carried forwards from this game, but of course the goal difference as well into the main round. France, who and I am working on the assumption that Denmark will be the other team to come through, have a -1 goal difference from that game, so they will be erasing the negative goal difference at least here against Sweden if they can maintain this difference. But Sweden have time to rally. Free throw. But there just doesn't seem to be enough pace, enough drive in the Swedish attack at the moment. The French are defending solidly. And just so is Sweden, but France are just finding those gaps. Oh, straight into the face of Cléopâtre Darleux. It's another free throw. Pinot thought that was too many steps by Gulden coming around. Well, she certainly had 4 to my count. And another save for Darleux. 9 saves from 17 now. In fairness, though, the Swedes, some of their shooting not quite up to scratch. Lacrabert is in now. Signate needs Tervel to come out. Tervel staying on in attack now. It's an interesting one because she's in at left back. Oh, and that's given away cheaply, and good chance here now. And it goes in. Hellebert. And they needed that, Sweden. Her first goal of the game. There's the steal. It was a dreadful pass across the court. Hellebert nearly fumbled it though on the way up, but managed to recover, and the 26-year-old makes it 9-16 now, the deficit. Lacrabert. Here's the switch back, and the Swedes trying to push out every time the French do that. Came off a defender. Goalkeeper Olsen says, I touched it, but the referee says, no, you didn't. And she was right there. Slow build-up by the French. Not feeling the need to push too hard here. They want to try and keep fresh as well for the next round. They already know the composition of the other 3 teams coming in from Group A to the main round that will merge with this group as another goal goes in for France. Lacrabert sets up Signate. So they know that this group will now merge with Group A, which has Norway, Serbia and the Czech Republic coming through to the main round. The Ukraine is a team that didn't make it from there, irrespective of the outcome of their match today against Norway. They will be leaving the competition after this game. That's more like it. Gulden, her first game, or goal of the game. Hugely experienced player. She's played over 100 times for her country, 288 goals. Scores against a club teammate. They both play for Viborg. Gulden, who came into the game with 10 goals to her credit, but that shooting efficiency just not enough for Sweden at the moment. France 71%, Sweden 40%. Signate, Nyabouyou, Lacrabert. It's getting untidy out there. And Dembele has to come out and help. Lacrabert changes direction. They're trying to force it down the middle at the moment. Dembele swings around to go wide, and it's passive play being warned now. And a full range of emotions there from Klingvall. Passive one moment, excited the next. And they've taken too long. Torstensson picks up the ball. Sweden try to press home the advantage. Quick change between attack and defence. Gantojitam's gone off. Oh yes. Nice big lob by Torstensson. Well, it's the first time since the 13th minute that Sweden have managed to score two back-to-back goals. Fifth goal for Torstensson. Pinault comes back in again. It's getting untidy. France in danger of taking their foot off the accelerator. And coaches know how dangerous that is, because the other teams start to close the gap, and before you know it, you can't get the engine going again. And you end up throwing away a game that was comfortably in your possession earlier on. They have to stay focused, France, to win this. The Swedes will hit them quick on the break if they're not careful. Lacrabert. And the French fans happy with that. Nice height on that one. So build up. Torstensson's now moved into the centre. Gulden to the left. Oh, and it goes wide. But Pinault has been felled. Nothing given, but I think they've blown the whistle, because Pinault still needs some treatment down the other end. Dembele did well to receive the ball, but I think she's taken a blow to the bridge of the nose. There it is. Totally unintentional. Torstensson putting a shot in and just catching Pinault with the follow-through from her arm. And that will hurt. Well, she's going to stay on. Polite applause from the crowd, and indeed from the French supporters. Pinault, who's 23 and plays for Olchim Vâlcea in Romania. She joined them this year from Metz. 286 goals scored for her country. So a timid performance, I'd have to say, in this game. And Darleux looks for the long pass. And she finds Dansette, who under pressure puts the ball past Olsen. We're trying to push her wide, but Dansette, who plays for Nîmes, managed to keep her composure under pressure from Helleberg. Good news for Sweden is that Johanna Alm is back on again, number 15. Oh, they needed to switch the ball back. Alm, who's now sporting a bandage over her eye, where she got the cut earlier on. Here she is on the ball now. She'll be a welcome return, scoring 10 goals against Denmark in the opening match of Euro 2012. Klingvall, as ever, in that crouched position he takes on the side, but it's an injury to one of the French players. It looks like it could be Aiglon. Oh, forearm straight into her chin from Gulden. And the 27-year-old from Nîmes has picked up a yellow card, having a little bit too much of an opinion for the referee's liking. And he's saying that was a forearm straight into her, and I think he's just annoyed that no further action was taken other than to just stop play and leave possession with the Swedes. Into the line, that's nicely done and put away by Flonman, the French-based Swedish line player, plays for Toulon. her first goal. They're within 7 now. Nicely done. And lobs the keeper, Cecilia Grubström, who's just come back in again. It was a wonderful knock through to Dansette from Lacrabert, who didn't even try and catch the ball. She palmed it straight into her. And Dansette scores her second goal of the game. Brings up the 20 for France. Alm has been off since about the 10th minute with that cut. Cléopâtre Darleux, Dansette, and again, well, not only is Darleux making saves in goal now, but she's set up a number of excellent fast breaks. Pin pass, accuracy, long passes. They had to be a little bit higher than she probably wanted to clear the defenders who were there. And Darleux, who's made 9 saves, has now set up 3 fast breaks as well. Alm opened up the winger, but Hellebert sees her shot saved. 10th save for Darleux, and back come France. Jakobsen happy to give away the free throw to allow her team to settle, but it also allows France to make a substantial amount of changes between attack and defence. And there is Darleux, 45% save rate. Pradel, the other goalkeeper, well, I think on Darleux's form, knows that she probably won't be seeing much play time today, unless the gap stays very large and she comes on maybe in the latter stages. Free throw for France, the throw in. Lacrabert. Piégeot dummies the pass. There was a gap there, but she decided not to go through. That goes wide. And now Grubström goes for the long pass. And it's cut out beautifully by Dembele. Knocked the ball back. And Dembele goes to take a seat on the bench. French very, very quick, and hard as they try. The Swedes have seen a number of fast breaks cut out or spoilt by the French defenders streaming back. So Grubström, the 26-year-old, has arrived here with 70 internationals to her name, is back in goal again. Only making 3 saves from 11 earlier on before being substituted for Olsen. And a rather wayward shot there. That goes straight over the top of the crossbar. Shot efficiency. Well, it's closing, actually. The French shot efficiency was in the 70s at one point. It's down to 60 as Roberts comes back into play for Sweden. Gulden in the centre, then Alm at left back. And save number 11 for Darleux. Oh, nearly taking too many steps. Tervel just managing to check herself. Now she'll go off. I wonder if that's what he's saying. And on comes Lacrabert again, together with Niabouyou. And a change on the line for France. For the first time in the game, Goyorani, 24-year-old relative newcomer to the French team. He's had a good Euro so far. Well, not needed on that occasion either. Niabouyou. Niabouyou's first goal of the game, and she's happy with that, and France are hammering home. The advantage now 10 in front. 13 minutes remaining in the game. France with this very aggressive 6-0 defence, but try as they may, the Swedes haven't been able to launch the long-range shots. Torstensson today relatively quiet by her standards. And mistake, Pinot smiles. She can afford to with that kind of lead. As she fumbles the ball. Well, Torstensson, so effective in the last game, has scored just twice from open play. She's now off as Gulden goes into the left-back position. Alm has now switched to the centre. Gulden Nicely done. It's a penalty. Gulden shooting against a club teammate, Darleux. And the goalkeeper got a hand to it, managed to deflect it onto the post. It stayed out, but penalty's been given. She's saved one already. Tries to stay focused, the Viborg goalkeeper, as up steps Torstensson. And she saves again. 2 penalty saves to add. And rightly she should smile. Throw in to Sweden. 13th save. Well, in fact, I say 2 penalties, it's 3. There was the Gulden penalty as well earlier on. Alm. And this time it does go in. Johanna Alm. With that bandage over her left eye. Piégeot. Nyabouyou. And she's got her confidence up as well after scoring the last one. 24-year-old from Toulon wheels away, having restored the 10-goal lead. Two goals in succession for the French team, for the French player rather, separated by that effort from Alm, her first goal of the game. Now they're beginning to find a few gaps now. Emma Hawia Svensson, a 21-year-old newcomer. Problem for the Swedes so far is that they've their goals are just punctuated by too long a break in between. 10 minutes remaining then. France 23, Sweden 14. Lacrabert off the post, and it goes out for a throw into Sweden. France stream back. A few smiles from the French supporters. There are not many of them. Well, disappointment for Torstensson really, with just 2 open play goals in the game after such a good performance in the last game. You thought she'd really come alive, but blowing a little bit hot and cold here. Alm, though, who was rested for much of the second game, came on for 15 minutes at the end as a playmaker. Didn't score, but she'd done her contribution in the Danish game with the 10 goals. And the 2 Swedish coaches, Klingvall and Sivertsson, they're looking deep in thought. I'm afraid this game has well and truly slipped away from them, and in all likelihood then we will see the 3 teams we knew would come through from this group, Denmark, Sweden and France, go through with 2 points each into the main round. A group that will be headed by the defending champions Norway, who've won both their matches against Serbia and the Czech Republic, the other 2 teams coming through into this main round. They'll be based in Belgrade. Shot efficiency improving slightly for the French, back up to 66, but for Sweden 41 only. Oh, clever play. Gulden dummies the pass to the middle, swings it back into Hellebert, who's fouled and gets a penalty. A very intelligent play by the 23-year-old from Viborg. So Darleux, save number 4. No, Alm scores. Second penalty after Torstensson and Gulden have missed opportunities. And the team timeout has been called by Olivier Krumholtz, the French trainer. France, of course, one of the big favourites coming into this tournament. It was felt this could be their opportunity to win a title that has always eluded them. But they do have some weaknesses in them. They are certainly an incredibly fit, tough and athletic team. But the problem for them is that their passing sometimes is almost faster or too fast for their own good. And they give themselves a headache. For Sweden, well, there just hasn't been enough intensity, enough energy in their attack. In fairness, arm going off was a problem, but they still had the wherewithal at the back. They still had Torstensson and Gulden. Jakobsen hasn't really been used. Vesterberg had a brief run out. Roberts has been tried at right back, although she is really technically a left back. But some of those are experienced players. But France just haven't allowed them. They've defended well, France, and they've hit them on the fast break. All the way through. A big smile from the 1m85 right back Ndiabouyu. He gets a third goal. And France have laid to rest the ghost of the Danish match with this performance here against Sweden. A masterful performance against, in fairness, a lackluster Swedish side who just don't seem to have managed to press the start button fully throughout the game. But let's not take it away from the French defence, though. It has been solid. Gulden. That was nicely fled in, and Flonman scores. Second goal of the game for her. All the way through into the side netting. That didn't quite make its way in, and Audrey Bruno, number 15, has just come on for her first taste of the action, one of the newcomers in the French team. Just 20 years of age. Free throws been given meanwhile for Sweden. Krumholtz will be pleased. The strategy worked for today's game. Tough defending. They're pushing up on Roberts to stop her getting those runs earlier on. And also, to their great satisfaction, Darleux, the goalkeeper, has been on scintillating form today. Make that her 14th save. Lacrabert switches back. Ndiabouyu loitering on the other side as Goyorani, the new line player, is in for France. Got to watch it. She's going through the area. Could give the ball away cheaply. Goyorani, who plays for Toulon, same club as the Swedish line player, and they've lost the ball this time, and there's a chance on the wing. The French are coming back en masse, and again, good defending by France, who've fallen back repeatedly and covered the Swedes, but an injury to Ndiabouyu. She seems to have taken a blow to her knee. And I think Hawia Svensson just going in hard on her and catching her. I'm beginning to think those are the only 5 French supporters in the hall, which the ones they're showing us. Had a long journey here. I'm sure they'll be absolutely delighted they made the trip now. 4.5 minutes remaining in the game. Wayward shot by Gulden. Darleux looks for the long pass. She went to throw and changed her mind. Cameraman thought the ball had gone though. So Lacrabert calls the move. The 25-year-old French playmaker now, who plays in Russia for Zvezda Zvenigorod. Lacrabert That's blocked by the Swedish defence. The ball's loose. Picked up by Grubström, and a chance for the Swedes to push up, and they will have goal difference in mind here. Even though they are now looking at defeat in this game, they've got to try and limit the damage. France, who will move top of this group after win here today. Saved by Darleux, and the loose ball picked up by Cathy Piejos. Roberts tries it. She can't get close. They're being so closed out by the French defence that they're resorting to these long-range shots, and it's allowing Darleux to mop everything up. Penalty. And Baudouin looks on anxiously. She tried to get across and cover the winger. In fact, ended up running straight into Hawia Svensson, who goes down heavily. And Baudouin has picked up a 2-minute suspension. No argument from her there. She ran into the area to do it, to block the winger. And Johanna Alm, meanwhile, faces up to her club teammate Darleux for the penalty. Stays out. Darleux came a long way forwards to, well, said, if you want to lob me, you can try. I'm ready to go back if you do it, but it means that Alm had less of the goal to look at. And as she tries to go on the top corner, clips the post, and it's another penalty miss. They've only scored 2 from 6 penalties, Sweden. Kind of sums up their day. Just under 2.5 minutes remaining. They've stolen the ball now. Roberts is away. She's got Alm ahead. And this time Alm does score and collapses onto her club teammate. Third goal of the game for Johanna Alm. And it all came of a good interception by Jamina Roberts. Into the last 2 minutes. France will be short-handed still for another 55 seconds. Push on Nyabouyou gives a free throw. Piejot tries to suck in the defence a little bit. And that comes off Grubström in the end, and it's a throw-in for Sweden. 1.5 minutes remaining. Well, they've been up to 10 goals down, Sweden, so they've managed to limit the damage late on with a 4-1 exchange. It could prove telling. You never know in the group stages. Jakobsen being used in attack as well, the number 27 for Sweden. Plays for Randers in Denmark. Here she is. Oh, too much space for her, but saved by Darleux. 16th save from the French keeper. And we're well into the last minute. France back to full strength, and Goyorani goes in on the line. Great cheering in the hall as France prepared to... unlucky. Hellebert thought she'd got to the ball, but then caught a knee on it. France playing in a little bit too close now. Pino's saying, let's circulate the ball a little bit more. Passive play is being worn now. They got a shoot, and they've lost it again. And there have been a few occasions when France haven't heeded the warning of the Croatian referees for passive play. Just a few seconds. Clips the post, goes a hard one too, and that's it. And France have won convincingly today. Olivier Krummholtz and the French team have put behind them the Danish defeat to beat Sweden, who were top of the group earlier today, 24-17. And they are the new group leaders and will take 2 points into the main round, as will the Swedes now, who had come into this game hoping to take a maximum 4 points, but they just couldn't get past the World Championship silver medalist France, who were preeminent in defence, and for which Darleux was a big contribution with 16 saves, a 48% save rate. And there is confirmation, 24-17 the final score here in Group B for France. But the Swedes really needed to wake up. 32% success rate on their attacks. Too small, I'm afraid. 46% for France, but 36% as well on their shooting, the Swedes. That isn't enough. France on 58, but they were restricted to just 2 fast breaks, Sweden, in the game. 16 turnovers to France, 13 for Sweden. And here's the running order. Sweden again not scoring early on and going further behind, and then another barren spell at the end. And although they got back at the end while France stopped scoring in a 4-1 exchange to limit the damage to just a 7-goal defeat when they had been 10 behind, they will rue that fact. Signaté and Mendy top scoring for France with 4 goals, but Torstensen's 5 make her the top scorer in the game. But the player who really sticks out, Cléopâtre Darleux, with 16 saves, isn't on that chart, but surely is the player that made the biggest contribution for Sweden. Then all down the middle, a couple of shots on the back positions in the left wing, 2 fast breaks and 4 penalties, but they missed 3 penalties in the game. Again, Darleux in evidence for those. For France, well, 3 fast breaks, 3 penalties. It's all down the middle as well. The wingers not particularly in evidence today, as they basically battered down the middle. And so it means France take over at the top of the group. And with Denmark likely to be the other team coming through, it means that Sweden, France and Denmark will go through to the main round with 2 points apiece. But of course that all depends on the next result of the match coming up between Denmark and Macedonia. But France have shown that when they concentrate, they are a very, very difficult team to play against. Superb defending, and there's confirmation then of France taking over the top of the table on 4 points ahead of Sweden, with Denmark on 2 points, but of course they play Macedonia next. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the game. Thanks for watching, and until next time, from me, Paul Bray, goodbye.